It's no new revelation. There's always men that hate, who use God's words to make others participate. So salute to religion.
The World Trade Center symbolized the best and worst of New York. They just stood there and they said, here I am. Love me or hate me, I'm here. They were big. Some people thought they were obnoxious. They were loud. But they were also strong, intelligent, and to me they personified New York.
To us, they were not huge buildings. They were emotionally connected by being the provider of many of the products and services that anyone relies on in a major city.
If you were lost, you could turn around, you could find them. And they were, I mean, I remember when they were being built, and I remember saying, these are ugly buildings, but I mean, they grew on you. And then it was, after the '93 incident, they really took on, at that point, they were very symbolic for the spirit of New York, the spirit of, and unfortunately, they fell.
Technological magnificence, you know, both ugly and beautiful at the same time.
How so?
Ugly in the fact that they were square boxes and they sort of jutted out like two teeth in the front that, you know, sort of like buck teeth. And beautiful in the sense that here was something that, you know, humankind or mankind or people in America had made, despite the fact that, you know, you go past, what, 80 floors and it gets difficult, you know, to run water, to put electricity up.
Back in the late 60s, I worked on there till like 1971 or something. And it was great because at that time it was the biggest building in the world, or in the United States. And it was just an honor to work on it, you know, to be a part of it. Oh, it was days there where it was cloudy and rainy and that, and you looked down over the side of the building, you couldn't see the ground, you know. And you wouldn't know if the steel was coming up, and then finally you see the steel breaking through the cloud. You hear the engines of the cranes revving up, then you knew the load was coming up. Then you watch it and you see it coming right out of the cloud. It was something to remember. I never forget, you know. The iron workers from Local 40, you know, they built all the skyscrapers around here, and we were very proud of building that one because it was like a landmark, you know. Once it was built, everyone came to see it. There was no more Empire State Building. Everybody came to Trade Center, you know. It was really a treat for us, for the iron workers, to know that we accomplished all this, you know.
Well, I got to my desk about 8:30.
That day I said, for one reason or another, I had gotten the early train.
I remember laying in bed. It was an election day.
Everybody's heard of Wall Street everywhere you go.
And it almost sounded like a fighter jet coming down the street. It was that loud. Short, it only lasted maybe 2-3 seconds, and then of course everybody looked up to see where it was coming from, and with that we saw the explosion within the first building.
The lights flickered in the apartment, and then the whole building sort of shook. It was almost like a sonic, if you've ever been in Florida when like one of the space shuttles returns into the Earth's atmosphere, it was sort of that kind of boom.
We were both standing here thinking, oh, it's a news helicopter has crashed.
Like, we heard a boom and a kid on our class, it was sort of funny because he thought it was a garbage truck. This garbage trucks make a loud noise.
As I was putting on the lights, the whole building shook. There was a thunderous, loud sound, and the building shook, and I had been here in '93, and I just immediately screamed, oh my God, they bombed the World Trade Center. It was exactly the same feeling and the sound. And I have no windows, so I couldn't see what was going on. I ran downstairs, went out into the street. There were papers flying everywhere, and there was this big fiery hole all the way up in One World Trade.
We noticed the papers flying, and we didn't really make much of it. It almost looked like the ticker tape parade, just debris flying all throughout the sky and a little bit of smoke.
Got my first view of it, really, from the terrace outside our health club, which is on approximately the 48th or 50th floor of this building. And I positioned myself on the northeast corner and started videotaping the flames coming out of the gaping hole in the north tower. An airplane hit it. Yeah. As I was videotaping, and I also shot the emergency vehicles that had surrounded the base of the North Tower, as I was videotaping, suddenly there was a roar of a significantly big jet plane that I felt came over my right shoulder. Actually, I suspect it was about 150 feet above me. pulled down the video camera, but kept looking at the plane as it headed straight for the tower. And as I saw it, and as I recollect it, banked slightly to the right and then pulled up even higher before it just was absorbed into the South Tower, and just absorbed. And a huge fireball followed, at which time I raised my video camera again to catch that fireball a few seconds after the impact. And then the few of us that were up on the terrace decided that this was clearly not an accident, this was terrorism, and we'd best go seek some shelter and get ourselves prepared for a very long day.
Walk outside of Rector Place, I see the buildings, and the difference between watching something on TV and seeing it in person was a gigantic shock.
What was quite interesting about it was that the second plane that hit, we thought was a recreation at first, because the volume wasn't up. And then somebody said, put the volume up, let's see what's going on. And they put the volume up and realized that it was a second plane hit. Then we knew there was something wrong. And that's when we realized at that point that, we had guys down there, because we were one of the first 2 units to go down there. There's a couple other units that would be there first, but we knew that our units would be down there.
I had just finished hearing confessions in the Church of St. Peter's over in Barclay Street, and someone told me that I heard these sirens that the plane hit the World Trade Tower, and I guess thinking with that it was just some kind of an accident. So I rushed out, bringing what they call the holy oils to anoint any of those who were either dying or deceased, and went there and looking for where the triage center might be, but none of the police officers seemed to know where. So then in walking back and forth trying to find someone who might know, I was, I guess, on Vesey Street when the second plane hit the other tower, and there was debris all over us. A piece of a wheel was over my head, some kind of container of water splashed all over me, and just total chaos then.
Grabbed my video camera, ran back down to the street corner, started videotaping what we were seeing, which was...
I remember when he came back at that time, that's when he said he had heard
that it was a second plane, that they were hijacked planes and they were passenger planes.
Oh my God, who's jumping? Oh my God, no! Oh my God! Oh, now you see? Oh my God, that was clear. What happened? Somebody jumped?
I was so close that I saw them jump, and you heard them hit the ground. You don't believe it. I didn't believe it was a real person coming out of the building. And if it was, I felt it was like something underneath them. You know how they jump on the balloons? I thought it was something. I didn't think that they were jumping and killing themselves. Well, obviously, you don't want to burn to death. But you don't think at the moment, you just thought it was like a dummy or not a real person.
Something approximately a car's length away hit the floor. And I was saying, what was this? And I turned around, I didn't even know what it was because it just completely exploded. And I realized, I looked up and there was people coming down.
As I looked up, I saw what looked to me like a nuclear explosion. I saw the top of the building have like a mushroom cloud over it. And then I saw what I thought was the beginnings of a collapse. I saw the building shake.
There was so much symmetry to the way that the dust was just coming out of the buildings, and it was horrible, and there was something somehow macabrely beautiful about the whole thing too, But I realized that there are people in there, so it was so terrible.
As time went on, I took over. We kind of swapped over control of the video camera, and I was taping. It appeared that it was a helicopter, which I thought looked like it was trying to land on the North Tower, the tower with the antenna. It seemed to be hovering very, very close. So I was filming that, figuring it was going to land. Then he pulled away a few times, and then he tried to get closer. And as I was filming this, all of a sudden, I heard this really loud rumbling noise, and everyone started screaming like mad.
the cloud of dust that was coming at us was so high that you couldn't see the tower was collapsing behind it. All you could do was hear. I was on the sidewalk, and I couldn't make it to our door. I saw 4 girls passing by. I said, quick, get in our building. It was too late.
I heard an explosion and turned around and just saw the building, and then it just started falling down. And screaming, and she went one way and I went the other way. And you know, I hate to say it because I've heard people say it's like the movies, you can't outrun it. You know, you really can't. It's amazing how fast, because you've seen it to start to fall and you turn around and you just start running. And then all of a sudden you just don't realize that next time you turn around, it's right there, and I'm just trying to find some place to go. I don't know where to go. There's no place. Do I go underneath the car? I mean, everything's running so fast, but you just, like, don't know what to do. And then that's when I seen the first doorway that I came to, the very first doorway, but there was no room for me. And I didn't know what to do. That's when I grabbed onto Mr. Forrester and just started screaming. And I think at that time it just hit me that I think I'm gonna die.
And try to take care of the people who obviously are in.
Well, the second tower just collapsed. You can see clear sky above it. You couldn't see before. There was 2 towers there. This is looking out of my apartment building.
Very, very difficult to describe in many ways without sounding melodramatic. Certainly in more.
At one point, there was 12, 14 memorials a day, I mean, on weekends. And how do you go to all... It wasn't just like the 2 or 3 firemen were killed and you made sure that you went to all... It's 343 guys.
Heroes. They risked their lives for us. People were running out, they were running in, trying to get people out. That's just saying something.
These were heroes that gave the ultimate, you know, sacrifice for people that they never knew.
See, most people don't understand that New Yorkers, we don't live in the same place for very long. We rent apartments and we're in and out within a couple of years. Most everywhere else in the country, people live in the same house for 30, 40 years. Some people were born and die in the same house. But here in New York, we don't have that type of attachment to our homes. So our homes are basically the landmarks of New York. The World Trade Center, the Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty. And when I saw the trade centers fall, it was like I was watching my own house burn down.
I'm looking at some of that iron. I know I climbed around on it when it was going up and connected on it. And, you know, I just say to myself, I ran across that beam one time. Now I'm just doing the demo on it, taking it out, you know. It's a strange feeling. It's an empty feeling, like, you know. You don't realize it.
We have these prayer stations that we set up, and it's to just meet the people's needs that are walking on the street here. A lot of people are emotionally fragile, and we believe that God God can really meet them in this situation.
I actually brought a complete stranger home, fed her, let her spend the night, and took her home the next day because we were she was hysterical.
Every day I went out, I said, okay, this is enough. I would generally, I would just feel this need to go out and draw. Just when you thought you couldn't be amazed again by what you were seeing, day after day there was another amazement as one layer was taken away to reveal another.
It's a cold, cold city in the pale moonlight. These old tall buildings seem to hold in the night. Now I'm all out of touch, I'm all out of tune. I've seen enough what the city can do. And sometimes it gets so crazy, you get so tired of playing this game. Sometimes all you need is something to kill the pain.
Nothing's healed. The people are still extremely depressed and sad.
You looked across the street, the tower was there before. Now there is nothing. It's hard. It's still hard.
Families have gone, children have gone, nannies have gone, school buses have gone. Businesses have closed up.
We never had military down here. Military in Penn Station, military everywhere, protection. We never had that at the bridges, on the bridges.
From my location where I live, I can see them from where I live. And now every time I look over there and I don't see them, I get a pit in my stomach and I get angry, I get very mad, pissed off that somebody came into our country and knocked down part of our freedom, liberty, and what have you.
The whole past year has been the wait.
It kind of hit us then and there, realizing.
And then September 11, 2002 was sort of the funeral.
The funeral.
It's sort of, I don't want to say it brought closure, because it didn't, but it's, I think from that point on, I think things seem to start going in another direction, more of rebuilding.
I've heard people compare the attacks to Pearl Harbor, and to me this was much worse. So many people died, firemen, police officers, innocent people who just went to work that morning. And it's sad. You can't possibly come down here and not feel sad. In a way, it's like a graveyard.
We have such tolerance here. We really do. We really don't realize it. You know, I've been to the Middle East. I've seen the hatred in people's eyes. You know, black and white, you know, different religions, ethnic colors. I mean, it's here. The colors of the rainbow are here.
I'm just glad that we have the government that we have. I'm glad that we have the mayor that we have. You know, they all were wonderful through the whole predicament to support us and help us.
Hear 'em ride do it on live TV. Now that's a really good start for a new revolution coming to your hometown to strike at your freedom and bring your body down. I'm trying to call the angels, but they're not on the line. I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime. It's no new revelation. There's always men that hate.